I will start, I think, perhaps in the same place as Mr. Justice Brian Murray started with, which I did also grapple with where to start. And I can't promise to give you an erudite a lecture as Mr. Justice Murray, but I do hope to speak from my own personal experience in dealing with directors' duties and directors' fiduciary duties. One was Pat Keating, a CEO of the Shannon Foynes Port Company, a semi-state, and he was looking for arrears of his performance-related bonus, which the government, in its wisdom, during the 2008 crash, had put a moratorium on any payment of bonuses, and we tried to get his bonus, and we were successful. The second case, more recently, was I was seeking an employment injunction to prevent the alleged dismissal of an employee, and that was Conor Dernan against Sports Caller, in a context whereby an Irish company several years beforehand had all its shares bought by a very large US multinational gambling company, and we were successful in getting an interlocutory injunction. But to get to those places, I had to interrogate directors' duties and breaches of fiduciary duties. So who is paying the piper? Are they calling the tune? Is a director who has been paid or remunerated or appointed by some other body the piper, are they actually acting in the best interests of the company and therefore fulfilling their fiduciary duties, or are they acting for the piper? So what I'm going to do for the next half hour is look at two questions essentially. Are cipher directors in breach of their fiduciary duties? And I look at that first of all in principle, and then I'm going to say, can the duties actually be enforced? And this is where I think that the Corporate Enforcement Authority is particularly interested in this conference as to the enforcement of duties which might otherwise be on paper. And the Companies Act, as you'll be aware, does particularly say that these relate to the common law and equitable rules that have developed. So therefore, the case law, and indeed Courtney is very firm on that, the case law that has developed over the years informs the interpretation of these duties. Building on those cases then, it enabled me to use the director's principles to enforce the breaches of fiduciary duties. Although I didn't think about it in that way until I was asked to give this talk, I was coming at it from the point of view of trying to get for employees what they were due. But in so doing, as I said, I had to interrogate the director's duties. The High Court held that there could not be a reasonable exercise of the discretion by the directors for the board to ignore its duty to the company. So that was a springboard for me to go in and argue that the decisions were not being taken by the directors of the Irish company. They were not exercising independent skill and judgment. They were not acting subsequently, that would be my next point, I suppose, in the best interests of the company, but that they were acting under the dictates of the global company based in Delaware, New York, Las Vegas. To go back to the beginning, does he who pay the piper call the tune? Yes, but in certain circumstances, that can be turned against them. Thank you very much indeed.